The mission is clear: to ensure that those most impacted by disparities are equipped with the tools and resources to exercise their agency collectively. The E3 Foundation is making strides towards positive social change, and we are happy to welcome its founding partners, Executive Director Audrey Lane and Chief Programs Officer Latisha Vaugh. Ladies, it's so great to have you both with us.
Thank you for having us.
So Audrey, what does E3 stand for?
Very simply, is educate, empower, elevate.
Okay, and now Latisha, if you could expand on what the E3 Foundation is.
Sure. So E3 is actually the brainchild of Audrey and I, and we met while working in one of the local school districts. We've done a lot of work specifically with grass tops leaders or people who are making decisions about policies and practices. But what we noticed was that the community was really not as engaged or involved, or sometimes just didn't know what was happening. And so E3 is really about how we connect people to systems. So how do people know and understand what's happening? How do they then know how to speak up for themselves around issues that are relevant and important to them?
Can you provide some examples of these issues that you guys have been focusing on?
Yeah, so one is just a seat at the table. So that's been very popular language lately, but it's really about not only how do we create those seats, but and who do we create those seats for? And it's important that our community, and when we speak of community, we're very focused on Black and Brown communities, and how do we ensure that their voices are elevated and at that table? Because in a lot of our experience being senior leaders in other organizations within the Charleston community, we get in rooms and we talk about the issues, and then we move to solutions, and those who are closest to those issues, whether it be parents, students, families, Black-led, Brown-led organizations, are not in the room to make those decisions, to talk about solutions. So it's really how do we bring the collective group, and we say it's coalition building. How do we bring all those individuals together so that their voices are elevated, we're united, we're also advocating for ourselves. We're teaching about how to, Latisha talked about how do you speak for yourself. We call that agency. So how do you have agency for yourself?
How do you guys look at the tailored approach of addressing these issues head on in the unique way that fits right?
Yeah, I think as Audrey said, it first begins with the community that is most impacted, right? And so sometimes the community, there are organizations that have been in community that have been doing work around these particular issues. They may not have the voice or the resources to be able to maximize their impact or to even replicate the work that they're doing. And so when we think about a tailored approach, every community, every neighborhood is really different. And just because people may look the same, they may have different needs. And so for us, it's really about how do we elevate the voices of people, again, who are most impacted, and the people who have been in the community doing that work, who know the pain points, who know the barriers, and then can help navigate what an appropriate solution is.
And now, can you speak quickly about the different impact that you guys have, the different projects, the co-creation project, the Pro Truth SC? I want to know more about that.
Yeah, yep, I'm gonna let Chief Programs Officer.
So I can start with the co-creation project. Because of the donation of a generous funder, we were able to work with 5 community-based organizations for over 18 months, and that was really around brainstorming together, collaborating, and creating together. And the goal of the work was, one, to think about how we can reimagine education in the region from our perspective, and then how can we ensure that our children and our families don't fall through the cracks. Because in Charleston, there are over 1,000 organizations that are designated as community-based organizations, yet many times our outcomes don't reflect the fact that there are resources, right, for children and families. What we know is that A lot of times community-based organizations or nonprofits, they work in isolation. So they're over here kind of doing this piece of work, somebody's over here doing this piece of work. So our goal was, how do we as the 5 organizations begin to think about a model for coming together to create solutions? So as a result of that work together, we have kind of 2 events now that we do annually. One is a Parent Fest, which we bring people together, parents and children, and just really fill them with affirmations and resources. It's a fun day where we collectively come together to learn. And then the other is community-wide assessments, because we know that children, specifically after the pandemic, were behind, and parents just didn't even know what reading or math level their children were on. So we provide those resources to communities where they can bring their children in, have their children assessed in reading and math, and then sit with an educator to understand how they can support their child the upcoming school year. So that co-creation project really was us coming together to really think about how to keep children and families from falling through the cracks.
Yeah. And now your website, the e3group.com, our viewers can go to learn more about the incredible work that you 2 are doing, and the E3 Foundation as a whole. Ladies, I want to thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We're back in 2 minutes.